What's going on, everyone? Jeeble Like Halo here, back again. And today, I know, before you say anything, I know I specifically said in my Halo Wars 1 video that I wouldn't talk about Halo Wars 2 because I didn't really like the game. But recently, I decided to give the game a third try. Yes, I tried it once when it came out, a second time 3 years later, and I'm finally tried for the third time this year, which is like 4 years after the last time I tried playing it, so that's pretty insane. But anyway, after the third try, I played through the campaign, I played some skirmish, and I just gotta say that I actually really like this game. Now, I don't know what changed between the last time I played it and now, but I don't know, man. I was just fooling around with different leaders and different units like that in skirmish, and I just found the game to be really fun. So I really don't know what changed, but I don't know. Here we are. So anyway, I'm making a video on Halo Wars 2, as you can see. And overall, I think I still like the first one more. Is it because of nostalgia? Maybe, but I think it might just be there's certain things I prefer in the first one, but there's also things I really like about the second one that I wish were in the first one. And most of those things are just quality of life changes. Also, I think my game froze, so let me restart. Okay, I restarted the game. Other than that issue, and also there was another issue when I was playing the campaign, it wouldn't let you start a mission if you had HDR enabled. So other than those two issues, it seems like everything's fine. So this is how the skirmish menu looks. And basically, you select your map, your settings, what game mode you want to play, and there you can set specific teams. You can actually have more than 3v3. You could technically, I think, have a 4v2 or something like that in this game. So that's a cool little addition there. Overall, setting similar, like, the game is still the same objectives, just take all the bases. So, by default, there is DLC to this game like the first game, but the first game's DLC only added, I think, new maps and modes. It never added new characters. So we still have Captain Cutter and Professor Anders from the first game, but we also have Isabel, which is the new AI, which pretty much replaces Serena. And then the Banished were introduced in this Halo game before Halo Infinite had them with Atriox. This is where he came from, Decimus, and the Shipmaster, and then Sergeant Forge is a free DLC. And then I have not played the Awakening the Nightmare DLC yet, but I fully plan on doing so, because from what I've heard, it's really good. You get to play as the Banished in their own little side campaign, so that's really cool. But so definitely adding more like story content, also Operation Spearbreaker, more like story content missions as DLC. I think that's really cool. Would have been nice if the first game had that. Second game does, that's good. Arbiter's leader again, Sergeant Johnson. You get to play as a Flood leader in this game, which is really cool. Jerome is a leader. He's also a unit for, I think, Captain Cutter. And Serena's a leader. Yep, you have to destroy her, the almighty grunt. And then Veritas and Pavium, which I think are from Awakening the Nightmare DLC. So yeah, that's what that's like. And now let's get into a match, show you what it's like to actually play the game. So I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you have watched the first Halo Wars video. I'll link it in case you haven't. But basically, very similar structure. You got your supply pads, well, in the first game it's reactors, in this game it's generators, which work a lot more like supply pads. You'll see what I mean when I build one. But basically, instead of starting with the scouts as well, you have two little marine squads. Which isn't that big of a difference, but dude, I play this game on controller, which is kind of weird because you'd think this is the type of game you would play on mouse and keyboard, but I genuinely have no idea what the key is to move your units. Okay, leader power is F, which are new, which are also really cool, and each leader has their own like specific leader powers. They're also, each of the leaders are the actual announcer announcing what's happening in the match, which also makes a lot of sense. But yeah, anyway, basically how Halo Wars works, you take your units, you move them. I mean, it's basically that simple, but there's always supplies of the maps, and then with this in Halo Wars 2, there's like an energy version of those, since the way the generator works, as you can see here, you can build more of them for cheaper, and it builds kind of like supplies just the same. Unlike where the reactor, it only went up to 4, or at least you only needed to go up to 4, and you just had to have 4 of them. Whereas the generator generates supplies just like the supply pad does, so yeah, that's how that works. Which I don't know if I like the change more, but this game is really heavily reliant on how much energy you have, because all the upgrades need like a decent amount of it. So yeah, got some new units like the snipers, which are basically the jackal equivalents. The UNSC now has their own like squad leaders, which they didn't have in the first one. The Banished would always have like, I mean, the Banished, the Covenant had the Arbiter, the Prophet of Regret, and Brute Chieftain. And with this game, depending on what leader you're playing as, we'll have a different like squad in the armory. So they kind of balance the game a lot more. Also, the Covenant had a Scarab in the other game, and you really didn't have an equivalent with that in UNSC, so that was also kind of unbalanced. But in this game, I think there might be different ones, but you do have the Condor gunship, which is really, really good. It is very Scarab-like, so definitely overall more fair and balanced game overall, which is probably why objectively it is a better game, even if I like the first game more. That doesn't mean this game's worse or better or anything like that. That's just how I feel. But yeah, I like the maps. It's on the Ark, which was in Halo 3, which is really cool. The first one I think was still on a Halo ring. Maybe it was on Earth. I don't know. I'll have to check. But overall, I think the campaigns, the story, I might have liked more in the first one, or the game. One of the elements I liked more in the first one than I did in this one, but still, they're both really good overall. Like, for an RTS game to have a good story, that's pretty impressive. I'll take that, especially with the story DLC they add. I'm sure that's really good. But yeah, overall, the units are more like counter. So, like, you would have anti-infantry units in Halo Wars 1, like the flamethrowers, which are the Hellbringers now. But as you can see, the Hellbringers absolutely annihilate the like enemy Marines in this, so it's a lot different in that regard. Where there's a lot more counterplay involved, which is cool. Like I said, more strategic, more competitive, while also being balanced, so you really have to know what you're doing with your units and what you're training and whatnot and stuff like that. But they also added, like, in the turret slots, there's the Watchtower feature, and then the Covenant has the shield thing in the turret slot as well. And then you with these leader powers, the more you like take bases and take out enemies, you get more points to either get a new one or upgrade an existing one, which is really cool. Adds a lot more depth to those instead of just upgrading it through the usual way through the armory. But yeah, I just hammered on a lot. If you don't know Halo Wars, you probably don't know. I'm trying to explain it as best as I can, but overall, man, I gotta say, if you have Game Pass, fully recommend. Like, if you like RTS games, definitely recommend checking out Halo Wars. It's absolutely my favorite RTS. I don't really like RTSs, so the fact that Halo Wars is good is really impressive to me. So yeah, really like Halo Wars 1 and 2. I'm really glad I turned around and ended up liking Halo Wars 2, because I found it a lot of fun now. Definitely going to get the DLC to play some more maps and story missions and stuff like that. But yeah, overall, really like Halo Wars 2. Music is also great in-game, and the main menu music. It has no business going as hard as it does. I'll link the soundtrack in the description, and yeah, let me know if you play RTS games at all. I know it's kind of a weird genre to have on my channel. I'm like a 3D platformer, first-person shooter type of guy, but yeah. Let me know if you like RTS games or you played Halo Wars, what you think, and if you're not subscribed and would like to, feel free to do so. And if you like what you see, feel free to like the video. And that's all about I have to say in this one, and I will see you in the next one.